Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the article that we'll be analysing today on the topic of truancy. If you haven't watched my previous video where I analysed the first article in this language analysis, then I'll just put it in the card up above. But if you have, then you're ready to join me on this next part. Last week we looked into Tom Frost's speech, whereas this week we're going to be looking at Rosemary Collins. I'll be looking down here, so don't mind me, and I'll be annotating live for you guys as we do this. So just to reinforce on what I said last week, I can't possibly go through every single language technique here with you, especially because I don't want this video to be too long. So I'll just be choosing the ones that stand out to me, and I'll be sharing with you the language technique that it's called, or how I would call it, and why I think the author might use that in an attempt to persuade the audience. So let's begin here with Rosemary Collins. So Rosemary herself is, ooh, hello, I can expand it, that's cool. Okay, so Rosemary herself is a parent. We know that because of this down here. So she automatically uses her credentials from the get-go. So as somebody who uses their credentials, we may be more inclined as the audience to agree with what she's saying because, one, she's a parent, so she has a child at the school and so therefore has their best interests at heart. Now, unlike the first article, what we can see here is an image. So it's a key, and on it says Key Educational Consultants, and it has the address. I think this image is really interesting because keys are usually indicative of safety, of the answer, or something that is trustworthy. So it definitely shines a positive light on Rosemary Collins, who is some sort of key educational consultant. So not only is she a parent, but she seems to hold quite a high position when it comes to something involving education. She's a consultant herself, so maybe that means that she shares her advice with other people and people actually pay her for this. So therefore, maybe we're more inclined to support her point of view. Additionally, we could also identify a pun here. Further credibility. The final thing I would say here is that there is a pun. So with key, it's not only the physical key, but it's the key as though it's the answer. So as you can see just from the one image, we've been able to find at least 3 different language techniques. So don't be afraid to go into this much details. Teachers actually love this. So we've already established that she's writing as a parent, and we've talked about that. Now she goes on to talk about how she's a consultant, so I feel like we've touched on that, so I won't go into that again. But then she goes on to talk about how it is a complex issue and that it will not be solved by a punitive model of discipline, one which is both ineffective and alien. Oops, my camera turned off. Sorry. Lost of battery, so let's make this super quick. So by saying punitive model of discipline, punitive itself means punishment. So here, essentially, she's saying that it's a form of punishment, which actually reminds me of Frost's comment earlier that students would be chained to the desks. So you call that negative connotations, if you would like to. One of my favorite ones. One of my favorite language techniques to use. Okay, the word alienating is interesting as well. School should be a place that's welcoming. It should be inclusive, comforting, but not alienating, going against everything that school should represent. So the portrayal of this discipline model is a negative one. So if we jump ahead into the next body paragraph, I'm just going to group a few things together. She uses research and statistics particularly in Victoria as well. So we know from earlier on that she is a researcher, so that's credible within itself because she is someone who's experienced in the field and someone who has done her research and she's knowledgeable. She uses statistics, and statistics itself is seemingly factual, so it's something that we can't refute, and therefore we may be more inclined to agree with her based on those facts. Moreover, she includes the fact that they're in Victoria. So this means that it's relevant and applicable to us as readers because pretty much all the students who will be doing this article will be from Victoria. So because it affects us directly, we might be more inclined to therefore agree with what she's saying. She also mentions that students who do not attend school regularly are disengaged socially and educationally. So what this does is it absolves students of the blame as though it's not their fault. There is a reason why they don't show up at school. And so the concern and the focus should really be on that rather than just punishing them even more and therefore alienating them even further. This might connect with parents who especially don't want their children to be unfairly blamed. In her last sentence, she says that students absent from school due to an impediment are equally deserving of attention according to their needs. So again, this is reinforcing the fact that it's not the student's fault, but we need to work harder at lifting them up so that they do receive equal attention. And it's implied that this hasn't been happening. She says our school, so in our last video, we talked about inclusive language and how that encourages people to agree. She talks now about a holistic approach to absenteeism. So like Frost, she offers her own solution to the matter rather than just slamming down the principal's policy. Now we're looking at something that is about the entire community. So if we go ahead with a holistic approach, it's as though everyone wins. And as readers, we might be more inclined to agree with this because we always want the best for everyone's interests. She elaborates by talking about alternative curriculum options, positive community service experiences. So by offering her own solution, she now is encouraging readers to agree with what she's saying, and she ties it in with for other students, going to show that it's not just a one size fits all. Every student is different, and so therefore the way that we go about helping them should be different as well. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just realized that I forgot to annotate. I forgot to annotate the articles. I'll do that in a second and attach the PDF to this annotated version for you in the comment section below. The last thing I would want to talk about is how she mentions I would be happy to be part of a working group. So she's not just talking, but she's actually going to walk the talk. So therefore we should trust her judgment because even she is a willing participant of her own solutions. So if that's the case, then we're more inclined to agree with her. Lastly, she concludes with her credentials. So of course that ends off on that high note to ensure that we do trust her and to show that she is somebody who is deserving of our trust. So that ends off my analysis of this particular article. If you wanted more information or you like the way that I teach language analysis, then you might be interested in my online course, How to Achieve A+ in Language Analysis. It's had over 300 students participate and an overall rating of 4.5 stars. So I'm really happy to say that I believe this course has been doing really well at helping those who struggle in language analysis. So if you're somebody who struggles from the basics of not knowing how to identify a language technique to somebody who is unsure of how to explain how it persuades, or somebody else who struggles with analyzing the argument and seeing how the argument comes together and develops, then I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and check it out. Otherwise, there are plenty of language techniques that I haven't covered just yet, and I'm sure that you guys have interpreted some of the language techniques I found here differently. So I'd absolutely love to hear what you guys have to say. Leave it in the comment section below, and let's all work together to do well in language analysis over this next term. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Bye!